All right, here to discuss, we welcome Ted Harvey, a Republican strategist and chairman of the Committee to Defend the President. Also, Vic Bajaj, a Republican strategist and federal attorney. All right, Ted, we'll start with you. Let's start with the Trump clip first. Leslie Stahl telling President Trump he didn't create this great economy here. And also, you know, clearly we've seen the president's reaction to this interview as well, threatening to release the footage himself. Your thoughts on what we could expect?
Well, I think that's typical of what we've seen over the last 4 years, is the media is doing everything they can to take away the president's successes, whether it's a domestic policy or foreign policy. And there's no denying that our economy was booming. We had lowest unemployment rates across the country, whether it's for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, female Americans. Stock market was at highest levels. Our actual revenue coming into our treasury was at record levels. The tax cuts worked, the cutting of regulations worked, and the economy was booming. If it wasn't for the coronavirus, we would have the best economy in our nation's history.
And again, Vic, you know, when the president is saying he's going to release his own version of this interview, I guess they were filming it themselves while she was in the room for CBS. Why might he want to do that? What do you think he's worried about could come out maybe in post-production? Of course, we know editing might not paint the clearest picture as to what actually played out in the interview.
Well, let me give you an analogy. Let's talk about a trial in court, and the discussion that you just led in with the demonstration of the questioning to President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden is very telling. It really is a difference between a direct examination of a witness and a cross-examination of a witness. Vice President Joe Biden was allowed to fully answer his questions and return to his logic, while President Trump was interrupted and his answers were curtailed. What we can end up seeing here in the future is perhaps a full representation of what was actually discussed in that meeting. The reason why, as you astutely point out, that's so important is because we can have excerpts, let's say 2 sentences from a 100-sentence answer, and that can be taken completely out of context. So aside from any potential civil liabilities and contract disputes, President Trump is well advised to release the entirety of this interview so that the viewers and the voters can have a full understanding of the context of these comments.
Yeah, context always key here. Ted, let's switch gears, talk about Joe Biden's interview. Again, he sat down with Norah O'Donnell, so it's going to be a bit different just because you are speaking with a different interviewer, so they're going to have different styles. But he gave an answer about where he would stand on court packing, kind of, because he said he's going to get this bipartisan commission who's going to examine it, maybe revisit the plans as to how many justices should serve on the Supreme Court, give it, 180 days to evaluate, and then get back to him with an answer. Is that fully answering the question as to where he stands on it?
Well, I think the experts have been studying this for over 100 years on whether we should have more than 9 justices on the Supreme Court. And even Justice Ginsburg came back and said, no, we should not have more than 9. It will make it very political if we do. This is a significant issue. The Democrats have been running all of their radical policies through the court system for the last 60 years because they couldn't get it through the legislative process. They know that if Trump gets a solid conservative contextual Supreme Court, then there's no way the left can push through their agenda through the court system. And that's what this fight is all about. And that's why they're threatening to pack the courts. And the American people need to understand that. There's a reason why they elected majority in the GOP into the Senate in 2014, 2016, and 2018, and why they must elect Donald Trump in a majority Senate in 2020.
Yeah, because, you know, when we are waiting for a final definitive answer from the former VP as to where he would stand on that, you know, again, he's kind of pushing it off to this idea of the commission who will make the decision. And he also said previously that it would depend on what the president does in regards to the nomination of Judge Amy Coney Barrett. We saw today that the Senate subcommittee is moving forward with that vote. On Monday, we're going to see the full Senate vote on her confirmation. You know, does that kind of give us some insight as to where Joe Biden actually stands on the issue?
Again, let's harken back to in court when you confront a witness with a statement and it is not denied or explained clearly, that's an adoptive admission. So I think anyone who's followed former Vice President Joe Biden's comments understands that he does not want to offend the left, which is clearly moving to pack the court. That's what he intends to do. It's interesting because if you listen to Joe Biden's answers in the excerpt that was released by 60 Minutes, he clearly states that presidents come and go, but Supreme Court justices may last and the Supreme Court may last for generations, so that these changes have monumental effects. In the same breath, however, he is indicating, and his campaign is indicating, that his decision on packing the court will be determined by the actions for the now or soon to be Supreme Court Justice Barrett. So they are contradictory. They are not corroborating. It's illogical, and it's true that he intends to pack the court. There's just no other way to determine his comments and come to a different conclusion.
Yeah. Well, Americans are heading to the polls now, and one issue they consider is where presidents would stand on the Supreme Court and how they would appoint justices. Ted Harvey, Vikas Bajaj joining us live this morning, weighing in. We appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.